I'm currently in my dorm room in Germany, living the student life at the age of 35, as one does. I have a meeting on in a few days with one of my supervisors, where hopefully I'll be able to talk to them and get a little bit more of a scope for which museums I'm going to look at, or which exact thing I'm going to be looking into. But for the time being, I went to this German history museum in Berlin, and I had quite high hopes for this museum because in 2016 or 2017, they did a special exhibition that was about German colonialism called Fragments of the Past or something like that. If you search their website, I'm sure you can find all the information about it. They also have a publication, which I'm thinking of looking into. Also, the museum has recently refurbished or renovated its permanent collection to include some colonial history in it, after a lot of criticism that it got from decolonial organizations saying that it did not really get much of a mention. The museum is again closed for renovation until 2025. The stated reason is to install more air conditioning or something like that. But I believe they're also going to take another look at their narrative in here. So I wasn't going there for the permanent collection. I was going there for the special exhibitions, which are happening while waiting for the permanent collection to reopen. It was called The Road Not Taken. And it presents us with, I believe it was 14 separate events in German history, which were kind of pivotal moments, such as, the Berlin Wall, the Cold War. One of the things was like a failed assassination attempt on Hitler in 1944. So it shows you, it tells you about each of these incidents, what was so pivotal about these moments, and then it presents you with a sort of alternate, like, according to the research, according to the evidence of other similar situations, what might have happened if this key thing didn't happen. So, for example, with the Hitler example, what would have happened if the 1944 what would have happened if the 1944 assassination attempt on Hitler had been successful? Would it have prevented the sheer number of people who were murdered in concentration camps and death camps, or not? It was far too late, as it turns out. In the course of the war, already a lot of the damage had been done, particularly to the Jewish and other persecuted populations in the concentration camps. They had already been murdered by the time that attempt happened. So the only thing that it would have done, according to this exhibition, and according to the evidence that the exhibition uses, is that German soldiers and German civilians would have died in fewer numbers, because that was sort of the tail end of the war there. And also World War II might have ended a year sooner. You can kind of see where I'm going here, because, what would have happened if, say, the Berlin Conference of 1888, which formally partitioned up Africa among, Western powers, if that hadn't happened, or if Bismarck, if it hadn't been hosted in Germany, because Germany was, for example, as my research is showing, Germany was quite a latecomer to the whole colonies thing. And the Berlin Conference was partially a way for the Chancellor Bismarck to kind of get his foot in the door of becoming a colonial power, even though they were so late to the game. It was very strategic, So this exhibition seems like it'd be perfect to looking at alternative versions of history without colonialism, or history where colonialism was overthrown or took on a different form or something like that. Wait, it wasn't 1888. So the Berlin Conference happened in 1884 to 1885. There we go. But anyway, I was expecting this exhibition to include something even just like a nod or a mention or something like that. But although the exhibition is split into, I think it's 14 different specific years, and looking at an event that happened in those years, from going back in time, starting from the fall of the Berlin Wall and going backwards from there. When it comes to Germany as an empire, you've got 1914, right? Start of World War I. And then the next year before that is 1869, before Germany became a nation. So the entirety of German colonial history is basically not mentioned at all in this exhibition about German history and the pivotal moments that shaped the nation and shaped the world. So yeah, even though the exhibition itself was really cool, it was super accessible, it had Braille throughout the entire section, it seemed to be very wheelchair accessible. It also had sign language interpreting on screens of the texts, so that everyone could access the texts. There were different ways that the information was portrayed, through art, through relevant objects, through, even at one point there was a board game that you could play, which was really fun. I played it, of course, and it was great. So it had all of the materials of something that could have been really good, but then there was just this huge glaring gap. And this is from a museum which has actually made a concerted effort to look at its colonial history. So yeah, I felt very disappointed by it. And this is, the state. This is, the German History Museum, right? So yeah, I just left feeling this idea reinforced, that there's this decoupling of the colonial past with the post-colonial present. And this is something that I really want to look more into. I want to see if I can talk to people who are involved in this exhibition and find out why these moments were selected over other moments, like, for example, colonial history. So yeah, this is a task for me to do going forward. Perhaps it'll become involved in my thesis, perhaps not, but yeah, we'll see. In any case, it made me think. The fact that it did so many things right just kind of made what I saw as a glaring oversight. It didn't really make sense to me, so maybe there's something I'm missing here. But yeah, in any case, warrants further research. So thanks for listening.